Wait for the podcast. I gotta eat during it. Sorry.
Oh, hey everybody! Keith's gonna get eaten.
Let's get this show going, man.
Welcome to the Bleeding Burgundy podcast, a Washington Commanders podcast for fans by fans, with your hosts Jesse Martin.
The Cowboys are finished. You understand me?
John Taman.
Pull down my trousers and do your job.
Scott Hartley.
Well, that was dreadful.
And occasionally, Keith Gregg.
So many social engagements, so little time.
And now, your host, John Taman.
Hi everybody, that's me, John Taman. As you can see over here to my right, that is my friend Jesse. Down to the bottom right, that is my friend Scott. And over here to my just below me here, it looks like the underside of a broken canoe. How are we doing over there, fellas? How are we all doing today?
I'm to your left, John.
You're to my left. I mean, you know, the thing is, if I point where you are,
what the fuck was that?
I don't know. What did you do? As usual, everybody, we are off to a roaring start here on the Bleeding Burgundy podcast.
Where's Carmi at?
Yeah, man, we are expecting George Carmi.
Yeah, he's late. He's late.
Right.
We got to. We have to. I think he's a teacher, so we have to give him a tardy.
Do we?
No, I'm not. Yeah.
Says here on the
Got to write a tardy slip for old George.
Right.
Says on my info card here for our special guest that he keeps that beard trim like that using a Sharpie. So maybe he's out there. Maybe he's coloring in a little bit. Oh, there he is.
Oh, hold on.
Anyway, we were just talking about you, George. How are you?
Yeah, there it wouldn't be a show without a shirtless man. I love it. Perfect.
The Sharpie man. I told you. Now, we were just discussing, George, whether or not you actually made that beard look as razor sharp as it does with a magic marker. And I think it was Scott that said yes. And I agree.
What's going on, gentlemen? How you guys doing?
George got some tight lines going on. I tell you,
It's a bit of policy, isn't it?
Always fresh.
Thanks,
I
brother.
told
Appreciate
George
it, man.
he's got the cleanest and most perfect beard I've ever seen on a man.
When you're 13, when you're Arabic and you're 13, you get a beard at that age. I've been shaving my entire life. I've been shaving for like 27 years now. So yeah, obviously, I'll get it right. Yeah.
2 years just to grow enough out to say, "Hey, look, I got something."
That man sits in his mirror for like 2 hours with tweezers and just.
I need to know
lines.
I need to
Sasquatch
know.
under that sweatshirt there.
I need to know this though before we get started.
All right,
George, with you coming from an Arabic descent, how's your name George?
So I'm just Christian. That's what it comes down to, pretty much. So I'm actually we don't have to get too political or anything. I'm actually Palestinian, believe it or not. So like this whole Israeli-Palestinian conflict is like right where my family's at. But basically, Palestinian Christians are very rare. It's like a very I'm like less than 10% of the entire population is typically Jewish or Muslim over there. So, they named me after Catholic. I'm actually after St. George. So my mom named me after because she's very Catholic. And that's where I got, yeah.
Now, didn't he kill a dragon or something?
Yeah,
patron saint of England. Thank you very much. Yeah,
exactly.
Love some of that.
Yeah, that's how I came to be.
The patron
saint
of
British name.
Is that George patronizes you guys and goes, okay, they talk funny, but it's good.
It means George is our king. That's what it is.
All right,
I love it.
There you
George,
go.
drop all your professionalism. Save that for the other podcasts you do. We're here to have fun.
I know what I'm getting into. I'm happy to be here, man. Hell yeah. I need a break. I'll be honest with you, man. Like, I'm exhausted. Exhausted with work, exhausted with the team at the same time, man. It's like I'm just like it kind of hurt last week with the whole edge, man. Like I'm disappointed that we got rid of the two edge guys. I'll say it on the podcast. Like people are celebrating get rid of Chase Young, and we'll all have different opinions, but it's like it's a colossal failure. Like we let him go for nothing. He's 24 years old. He's going to go to the 49ers. He's going to beast the fuck out in the 49ers.
Yep.
And it's like, oh, we made a mistake. In retrospect, 3 years, I'm going to regret it or something. It's like stupid. And like on top, I'm sure you guys know by now, but like the 49ers, let's say they don't sign him after 9 games, they get a compensatory pick after that. So they literally
get it right back.
You get it right back. So it goes a free trial for Chase Young for, I think he's getting paid like $1.5 million or something right now. So it's like nothing to them. And they're going to have a big playoff run. We're going to be watching them in the playoffs jealous. And like, it's ridiculous, man.
We're going to be watching them. We're going to be watching him December 3rd. Jealous.
Yeah,
Could we
he's gonna be whooping our ass. He's gonna be freaking.
He's gonna
crushing
have
Leno.
four. He's gonna have 4 fucking sacks that game.
Yeah, and he's
just book it right now.
Everything.
Can you make an open letter to
everything? Everything Chase is as advertised. You know what I'm saying? He's kind of a diva. You know, he's not team play. This is me. I mean, you guys can think differently.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he's kind of he's a diva, not a team player. The coaches basically didn't like him. You know, they butt heads with him. He's going to come back pissed. He wants to come back like I'm a hot shot. He's going to freaking kick the shit out of us because he wants to talk shit is what he wants to do.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just not – he's going to love playing the heel when he comes back. Like I'm sure some fans will boo him. Some people are going to cheer for him. I mean, I don't have anything against him. I wish he was successful, to be honest with you. I have 3 stupid Chase Young jerseys. It's funny. Up until last year, I had more jerseys than games played that he had. It's ridiculous, man. So it's awful. It's awful, man. Yeah.
At least maybe like write an open letter in the San Francisco Chronicle and please ask the Shanahans to back the fuck off of us because Dan's gone and you can't keep fucking us like that.
Dude, yeah. Trent Williams still kills me to this day. And it's funny, man. Like whatever. We can talk about this live on the show or whatever, but it's like Trent Williams. Like,
we're live right now.
Yeah, we're live right now.
Okay, we're live.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, whatever. Okay, well, that's fine. Perfect. But it's like Trent Williams, man, like the fan base gets really like, you know, there's a resentment towards him and anger towards him.
Yeah.
But I honestly believe that he could have returned back to the team. I think that, you know, I think Ron was playing hardball, trying to set the tone. This is my team. Trent wanted to be one of the highest paid players on the team. He wanted his, you know, favoritism. He wanted to be treated well. But basically, you know, Ron wasn't dealing with that. And I think we made a big mistake. Like, I miss Trent Williams. He's one of my favorite players of all time. And he's still dominating right now. So it's a missed opportunity.
We've yet to even replace half of Trent Williams.
Not even close.
Not even like his thigh.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I kind of have just a tad little bit a different outlook on that. I just don't think Trent ever was coming back no matter what.
That's very possible.
And I think Rivera pretty much knew that. So he was just like, you know what, I'm not even going to have this distraction, this drawn out, you know, kind of back and forth with Trent. If they knew that he wasn't going to come back, you know, I just don't. I'm not angry at Trent, and I'm not angry at Rivera for supposedly not trying hard enough. I think it was just that time. Carmi, you know, we had a bonus episode, right? You know, when the trades happens, talked about it. You know, I'm going to get your take on it as to the reasoning. You know, we understood that we could not most likely keep both of these DNs. I mean, we had 4 first-round picks that you'd have to pay. You know, we couldn't pay everyone.
Yeah.
But why get rid of both? Like that's what's baffling me right now. We knew we were going to have to get rid of one. Chase was, you know, at least at the beginning of the year, it seemed like they wanted to sign Montez long term. And then
did they ever make any overtures for that though? Did they ever offer him anything?
I don't know.
I don't recall ever.
I didn't hear anything now.
To me, Chase was having the better year. But you're already going to have 1 hole. Now you're making 2 holes. Yeah, you get 2 draft pick back, but
4 holes.
These are very, very, you know, they're elite pass rushers. Don't grow on trees. Next to quarterbacks, good pass rushers are the hardest to find, you know? So you get rid of both of them,
I'll tell you what, it's not even just that. It's that also Tuhill and and James Smith Williams
those are easily resignable though for a low
but do you want
price.
Them? I mean, let's see what they can do here and now. But I tell you what, I think that we have seen James Smith Williams bang his head right directly into his ceiling. He's a Jag. He ain't never going to be but a Jag. I'd like to see Tuhill to see if he can do something with these big sacks that everybody's inflating this week because Chase is going, oh, Tuhill can handle it. Yeah, right. I'm 100% with George. This is a colossal failure. And I point the finger of blame, as almost always, directly at our goddamn coaching staff, specifically Jack Del Rio. Look, dude, you have a round peg. Find a round hole. Don't keep trying to jam it into the stupid effing hole that you think it fits, because it doesn't. And when this is the thing that bothers me the most about him is they refuse to change anything. They just look at the players and say, no, you need to change everything. Well, why the f did you draft him? All right. You went up and got him at number 2. That guy should be the face of your franchise for 10 effing years. It's a failure. Huge. Scott, what do you think?
I'm trying to ask George a question until
Sorry.
I was asking George a question.
I don't know what that was.
John rudely interrupted.
I'm so sorry.
Yeah, George.
Yes.
Explain to me this thought process, man, of why get rid of both of them.
So if we're talking about like their thought process, I can tell you what they're thinking from what I've heard, right? From what I've just read about and kind of put things together. It seemed like they wanted Montez Sweat. They wanted to keep him. They thought he works well in tandem with Jonathan Allen and Deron Payne. He plays discipline. He's great in run support. He's a great athlete, man. Like we've all seen up close. We've been at training camp and things like that. Like he walks the walk and he looks like a prototype defensive end edge player right there. He's all inspiring when you see him, right? Mm-hmm. From what I gather is they were proposing about $21 million per season for him, and they wanted him to come back at $21 million. But his agent and the negotiations were going up to 25, 26, which is like top of the market. Bradley Chubb, Myles Garrett, like all the way up there on top of the market aspect. And I think that became a little bit too pricey from their perspective. And they were like, you know what, at 25 million, 26 million, he's a great player. But, that extra 5 to 6 million that we're kind of talking about, that's 1 or 2 players we can add to the roster. We can kind of like round out the roster more without him. Like, if he's willing to talk about 21 million, then we're good to go. I think they kind of dangled him to kind of see what the interest was and was surprised by the return from the Bears. Like, very good. To be honest with you, the Bears, I didn't see that coming at all. Like,
jump in the boat.
Yeah, it's like, the Bears are awful. There's going to be like the Bears are awful, but they kick our ass, which is kind of crazy, right? Yes. But they're going to be like 34, 35 all the overall pick. We could walk away with the edge rusher from that pick, honestly, or maybe one in the first round. So altogether, it wasn't a bad pick. It's more of like a long-term project. We can get someone that at 80% of his capabilities at a fraction of the price, a tenth of the price. So maybe that's why they want to be better allocation of the roster. But like, for me, I agree with Jesse. It does sting a little bit because you're creating more holes, and when you create more holes, you basically have to pay for it, and it becomes a issue down the road. And
right.
Let me say one more thing to finish off. Just to interrupt you, but like that's where I was at. I was like, all right. When Montez left, I was like, all right, cool. That means we're going to sign Chase, and then basically a couple hours later, Chase is gone. That was shocking to me.
Yeah, to me, you can take that condition or that compensatory third round, which is really a fourth round pick, and shove it. Okay, why not wait? Let Chase finish out the year, get your new front office staff, your an actual GM, your new head coach in, and see what they feel about Chase Young. Yeah. Instead, I don't care about.
I think they already told you. I think they already told you what they feel. They traded.
Well, these guys aren't here yet. Football people aren't here. The future of this team isn't here yet, and you're getting rid of a great talent. Okay,
is this an indication that they don't get rid of the GM?
No third round pick or fourth round pick. Whoever they pick is going to come in here and have the talent that Chase Young has. This is
doesn't mean you can't do anything in free agency, Jesse.
It doesn't, but you already have possibly in-house. And if you can't get a deal done, that's fine. But at least you tried. At least you let football people make those decisions. But again, you're creating 2 holes when you should only needed to create 1. That's what baffles me.
You really end up at the end of this season with KJ Henry and Andre Jones as your only signed defensive ends going forward. You're going to have to pull back at least one of the 2 that we have now. And honestly, unless Hill shows out, which really,
Hill's a great backup. Don't get me wrong.
He's a great depth player.
I'm good with Hill on it. But
George
you need 5 minutes starter, man.
George said 5 minutes ago about how defensive ends are premium players right now. And I mean, you look at what do I always say, fellas? Offense innovates, defense adapts. That's the law of football. All right. Defense has adapted over the last several years to all the rules changes and all the goosing that they tried to give to the passing game. So now you're seeing offenses are down. People are going, oh, why is offense down? How come offense down? Why people run the ball now? Because defensive lines have gotten better, faster, more athletic, and they are commanding a big piece of the salary cap. So, Scott, you mentioned all these free agents. Here's what I say. We look at this list of free agents. Ooh, Danielle Hunter. Ooh, look at these guys. These all look nice and juicy.
Come on,
they're going to go. They're going to go. Boop. Nope, you're signed. Boop. Nope, you were resigned. Boop, you're tagged. Boop, they're going to come right off of there. We'll see how many of them actually get to free agency by March, but I wouldn't count on much. And this class, there might be a surprise or two, but it's not looking so good.
And if they couldn't come up with a deal, they could have fucking tagged him. I mean,
right?
It's just this is what it.
Right.
Look, if we got another second round pick for Chase, okay, I would have been. I get it.
So Jesse, if it was the other way around, let's just say it was the other way around. Let's just say it was the other way around, and you've got a third, well, basically a 4th round pick for Sweat, and you got a second round for Chase. Would you be as bothered as you are now? Because you're freaking the fuck out here about this.
You're still,
and I am not bothered one bit.
You're creating 2 humongous holes. Again, like I said before, next to quarterback, defensive end is the most elite premier position and the most hardest to fill with good talent and to find with good talent. You can get okay talent all across the board. There's plenty of them out there.
James Smith,
but you have to in-house that you just let go.
But do you believe Chase wanted to actually be here for a start? That's one question. The second question I would say is, has he really shown that elite talent that you get from a number 2 overall pick? I want to see Nick Bosa. I want to see,
regardless of that, I mean, he was the defensive rookie of the year. The talent's there.
Yeah, I get that.
We've seen flashes. Regardless
he wrecked the Bengals. He wrecked the 49ers.
There's no Tuhill. There's no Chase Young in Tuhill. There's no Chase Young in Smith Williams, and that's what we're working with right now.
Unless there was a really wild night we didn't hear.
The talent is there. You let the new regime come in here and make that decision.
There's 2 takeaways that I have, right? So the first takeaway is obviously they had to let Chase go, right? I think we have to kind of acknowledge that's kind of the elephant in the room. Like, it wasn't going to work here. Clearly, there's some stuff that we don't even know about yet that's going to kind of come out over time. But that's what upsets me, Jesse. That's where I kind of agree with you. It's like the people that are here that created that division, they're not going to be here next year. So you kind of hope that they could have resolved it. You could have basically, manufactured something, kind of worked on something. Holding Chase Young's right, especially at the age of 24, is invaluable in my opinion, right? Because I feel like he's starting to play well. He's starting to shine a little bit, and then you kind of weigh it, I agree, Jesse. People are pumped about this compensatory pick. It means nothing to me. It's like who cares? If you look at the compensatory picks that have gone, it's a dart throw to have the player hit, and it's like, dude, I think we have Brian Robinson was a compensatory pick like a couple of years ago. Yeah, that's a solid player, but it's not Chase Young. You're getting Chase Young at 24. So for me, it's like, it just shows you there's a organizational failure, right? Basically, how did the relationship deteriorate? Why didn't they accommodate? Why didn't they work with him? Why did they work with the relationship? Maybe it's coming from Chase's end. If it's coming from Chase's end, that's another story. You have to revisit that later on. But I don't know. I just feel like, for me, I kind of agree with you, Jesse. How nice would it have been to kind of just watch 9 more games? Maybe his trajectory is going up, man. Maybe he's getting he ends the season with 10, 12 sacks. He's looking really, really good. Then you can franchise tag him, or you are absolutely definitive. Hey, you know what? He's not the guy, so let him go. I mean, I don't think the compensatory pick was hey, we recoup something. I don't see it as a win for me. If it's a second round pick, maybe I feel better about it. I think the pick was, especially the way the 49ers are getting getting one back in return. It's it feels like almost like flipping a quarter to us. It was almost they're insulting. They're laughing at us.
They're laughing.
Yeah. It's embarrassing.
Because they're going to make a Super Bowl run with this guy. And the potential that he comes out of it with a ring and laughs as well is very realistic, man. And that's the thing. I'm as a member of this freaking fan base, I'm tired of every fucking buddy in the league laughing at us, and I'm glad we had a week to laugh at the goddamn Bears, because it certainly didn't look like they had any plan whatsoever when they went.
What were they thinking? And then
I don't know.
Tez comes out and says,
over there, I don't know.
Tez comes out and says, "Yeah, I'm not signing. I'm going to look forward to see what I can get."
What a transfer genius he would be if he goes to free agency and we sign him back. That is finesse.
That would be home run.
Yeah.
I think Brian Burns is really in the mix for us. If we get Brian Burns, I mean, he's going to be top of the market pay. But if we get Brian Burns, I honestly think he's just as good or better than the guys we have, honestly. Sweat and Young. Like Young, we have no idea what's going to happen. But Brian Burns is pretty legit, man. Honestly,
I'd say he's definitely a little bit better than Sweat. I was down on Sweat this year. We've talked about it.
He's disappeared many times.
He seems to get swallowed up, and like Chase was noticeable on the field. You know, I think he ended up with 5 sacks. He probably would have got a double digits by the end of the season, I would think.
Yeah.
But, you know, he was noticeable, and you see him. Yeah, maybe he's out of place in a couple plays here and there. You know, I could live with that. I don't know about
Get some
most people,
linebackers that can pursue, and I mean, you can cover them holes.
But it's just when I saw that we got a 2nd round pick for Tez, I was like, holy shit, we did something right. We actually did something right. And then a couple hours later, I'm like, that's all.
Especially
we're getting rid of that, and then that's it. You know, that was just
to play devil's advocate here. You have these guys on 9 games left on their contracts. They're clearly not going to sign. And the other thing you've got to remember here is we have a vaunted defensive front line that you always knew that when these players signed, there was no way we were going to pay 5 of them. Should we have got rid of 2? Probably not. One of them maybe needs to stay. But yeah, I get that. If you're going to pay Allen, you're going to pay John, you're going to pay Payne, you've got to think to yourself, well, how are we going to pay these other 2 ends? Because that is pretty much 60%, if not 70% of your entire salary cap taken up.
We knew we were getting rid of one of them.
Yeah, we knew we were going to get rid of one.
2 was
I
the
understand
shocking
that, but this is what Georgia just said there. It's is it down to Chase? Is it down to external factors? We don't know. We're never going to know.
Because it's not like we didn't have the money. It's not like we don't have the money for next year.
You can only get what you can get that's on the table. And it's at the end of the day, fans get too attached to people and the people that are in the shirts.
You're right.
And this is a business, you know. We have to get what we can get. We've now got 5 picks in the top 45 next year potentially.
I think 3,
top
right?
50. We have 3. Sorry, yeah, my apologies.
No,
but yeah, you know what I mean. Is
it my turn yet?
Yeah, go ahead. I was wondering when you were going to speak. I was wondering.
Hey man, thanks guys. I appreciate you letting me talk on my show.
Go ahead, brother.
So, Jesse, John, and George, they're absolutely 100% over-exaggerating colossal failure.
Okay.
Right? What? Scotty, you and I are 100% correct on this. Here's the deal, guys. Everything you said, it doesn't matter. The fact and the reality is Montez Sweat only showed up in games against teams that were not very good. Most of the times on this show, guys, if you go back and you count the number of head slaps that we gave, Montez Sweat's name was mentioned for disappearing. Okay?
This year,
now,
yes. Absolutely.
Yes. Okay. Now, to Chase Young, I think the problem that we're all having or seem to have with Chase Young was we still saw potential for there. Here's the issue, guys. The issue. I'm not saying you're wrong in feeling like Chase Young could grow and become that number 2 pick that he was, but he wasn't going to do it here in Washington. Okay? True. The thing is this. He wasn't doing it now. Montez wasn't doing it. Our defensive line, our defense was bottom in the NFL. And listen, these guys, I can't speak and say that they were. You can't tell me these guys were happy. They just don't seem happy. The writing was on the wall in their interviews. They just did not seem interested. It wasn't like the season when you had Chase Young pointing on the back of Taylor Heineke's jersey. That was a Chase Young that we saw that was happy to be
because we were winning.
We were winning, correct. But now that we're on the losing spectrum, he was injured. He's coming off of an injury. Let's be honest. He came back. The only thing that he was basically providing for us was pressure, right? And here's the thing. The bottom line is this. These guys were not going to stay. They were not staying. So we have been known to hold on to guys because they are a top pick, and we think that we can change their mind and they stay. They weren't going to stay. There was a reason why that extension wasn't signed. It was written all on the wall there, and we got the answer as to why it wasn't signed. They've been wanting to trade this guy for since. Now, with that being said, though, my point is they weren't coming back, and we tend to lose guys and get nothing for them. So I think what the team was thinking, okay, and I was just kidding earlier. You guys aren't wrong for your opinions, right? I think, though, if you look deep into the team, which you don't want to do that because you end up in a psycho ward, but I think that they were looking at it, and I think it was ownership at this point that was looking at it and said, these guys aren't coming back. We got to get something before we get nothing.
Let me ask you this, Keith. Wouldn't you rather have okay, you say okay, they weren't coming back. Why wouldn't they come back? Is it because of this coaching staff? They didn't like this coaching staff?
That's the thing.
Okay. I don't think they liked Washington.
Nobody likes Washington.
Their
At least,
career
like
here.
let's be real here. Well, nobody likes Washington. What
no
players
one likes
do
to
like
go through coaching staffs. Like no one wants to go through that, and it's
how about if you got one that's completely incompetent? Wouldn't you want to see what's on the other side?
But you don't know who's coming in.
What
better than
players
Jack
like?
Real, I can bet you that.
Your team is terrible.
$1 on that.
What players like is money.
Your team, also, but but it's not. Okay, I don't want to say that because that's not true. You got to look at, if I'm hopping into the minds of these guys, I'm thinking, God, man, I'm going to go through whole new coaching. Like, no one wants to reboot. And let's be honest, their entire time in Washington, let's be honest, it's miserable. We're miserable as fans. You can't tell me that they're not miserable as players.
Okay, let me ask you this though. You think Montez going to Chicago? You think he's in a better mood now that he's in Chicago? Ain't no way. Ain't no way.
Do you know what though? So in some ways, Jesse, he might be. He's the guy now. He is that guy. He is out and out guy.
Because he was asked the question about signing an extension. Of course, he's not going to commit. But again, you're going from one shit team to the next. Here's the point: he didn't have a choice, so he's ultimately overall miserable. If
Washington put a $26 million contract in front of him, I guarantee you he would have signed it without even thinking. Period.
Money does talk.
Money talks.
Let me throw a question.
That can still happen.
It might. It could. I mean, I don't see us.
I think the Bears are going to franchise tag him because they gave away the second round pick. They're not going to let him walk.
Yeah.
Let me throw a question out of the group. Obviously, I respect you all. Like,
I do. Catching his breath there after he said that.
No. So Josh Harris has a propensity to blow up teams. Like he does that. He does that on the Devils. He's done that with the Sixers. He trades away all of his established talent to get more capital in the draft.
I like where this is going.
So here's the question, right? Are you prepared to see other people walk out the door? Are you prepared to see Terry McLaurin traded, Sam Howell traded, Jonathan Allen's coming on 29 years old? Are you prepared to see that? And I'll throw that to the group and let me hear what you guys think.
I'd like to go first because I am 1,000% for that. Okay, if you're going to start trading off, both of these guys, why not go all out? Okay, let's get rid of older players, the John Allens, the Terry McLaurins, and I love Terry, my favorite player of the whole entire team. Do not get me wrong, but look, if you're under the age or over the age of 24, see ya. If you got an inflated contract, see ya. We all know wide receivers getting close to the age of 30, a lot of them start losing their legs. Cut the fat, start from scratch, blow it up. Let's go. Hey, if right now this team is playing to see if A, Sam Howell's the guy, and B, enemy can actually run a competent offense, which he hasn't so far. Can run a competent offense and have he's doing his interview process right now, but he's got to get his offense right first because it's definitely not. But that's the only two things we need to be focused on as fans. If Sam Howell is the guy, all right, that's all that matters right now because we're not going anywhere. We're not going to the playoffs. So I think we're all realize that. This is about Sam Howell, because all those draft picks that we just made, if Sam's not the guy, you're going to package all of them to move up to, because there's this draft class is a very, very good one.
Yeah,
if Sam
it's quarterbacks in the first round.
If Sam is the guy,
and the generational quarterbacks left and right.
Okay, don't talk to me about generational.
We don't use generational.
I'm just completely joking. I hate generational.
We don't use that term around here.
They do it they say it every year. It's not generational at that point. It's ridiculous.
God, no, exactly.
If Sam is the guy, you got ammunition to build around him. Okay,
correct.
I like how say you go out and get a first round pick for Terry. I love Terry. He's my favorite player. Do not get me wrong. I would love him to marry my daughter when she comes of age. I'll give her away. But the fact of the matter is, he is getting older. All right, he's got a big contract. John Allen, love John Allen, man. We all as a fan base, we love John Allen. He's got 2 years left. They can get out relatively unscathed next year, or trade him and get something for it. Blow it all up. Recoup as many assets as possible and let a new GM come in here, take control, and let's build this team from scratch with hopefully a quarterback in-house.
Main concern over your question, George, is I hope Harris doesn't think that this is the NBA and he can buy one superstar and everything changes.
Yeah.
This is completely different from both of those sports entirely. You know, the NBA.
Great point, John.
We've seen the NBA have guys that on their own get on television on ESPN and build themselves a fucking fantasy team and go out and win the goddamn NBA championship next year and the year after that and year after that. So this ain't that. All right. What he did with the defensive ends, what we've already mentioned is, I mean, okay, great. You think you gathered assets. Well, now you have to use some of them on the fucking craters you just left behind. That's just the way it is. Now, I'm going to put this up on the screen because, George, you brought up something earlier talking about both of these guys and whether we expected both of them to be gone, but the writing was on the wall. So I'm wondering if this I saw this today. This is a conspiracy theory I saw. So I was in Denver when the trade went through. On the way to the airport, my Uber driver told me that his cousin is best pals with EB's nephew, and the story goes that Chase and Tez had a pact to undermine JDR this season. Ron Rivera found out that's why they were traded. Okay, so
Jesus.
All right.
Never heard so much bollocks in all my life.
Really? I mean, now here's the way I look. If Montez and Chase Young got behind the scenes and said, "Look, man, let's get this fucking old bastard out of here," I think we should give them both medals. I think we should.
That's a ESPN 30 for 30 right there. That's pretty impressive. They could pull that off, but like it doesn't make any sense because
next on 60 Minutes.
Exactly. Because they're playing for money, man. The real talk, they were basically all trying to get theirs. They're all basically playing undisciplined football, trying to get the sacks, but they weren't playing in tandem. And our defense took a result for it. But like in my opinion, I don't know if you guys agree with me. I think our defensive backs are worse than our line. We actually generating pressure. We were getting sacks, but like, dude,
so shocking because with the time and we all thought this defensive. We saw the defensive back issues. Yeah. You know, I mean, nobody.
Smith has like ran right by. Was it Danny Johnson? He didn't even know what he was doing. And I think that the loss of Chris Harris, we all been in training camp. Chris Harris was a beast. He was like yelling at the players. He was talking trash. He was fantastic. But I loved him as a coach, and we let him walk out the door. And I think we're seeing it. We're seeing the undisciplined back end of the football. And Derek Forrest was kind of falling off a little bit because Chris Harris maybe wasn't around. You have no idea.
Wieselmeyer, is that our new defensive back coach? Is it Wieselmeyer?
Wieselmeyer,
yeah. Yeah, no, he's no Chris Harris. Sorry. But yeah, I've been highly
sorry, I didn't mean to punch it twice.
Highly disappointed in our defensive backs this year. I mean, listen, I love Cam Curl to death, but he's had times where he hasn't been playing well either.
I was going to say I think Keith has asked me a question or something, but like I agree. I think I love our players. It's funny. Chase was playing well. We got rid of him.
Yeah.
Montez Sweat's always Sweat was playing sweat football. That's how he plays. Right. He's a good run stopper, 6 or 7 sacks a year. He's, Preston Smith type of production. That's what we're going to get at Montez Sweat. Cam Curl, I love him. He's going to ask for a big contract. Does he deserve a big contract? This is polarizing. I don't want to cause any hot topics. I love Terry McLaurin. Terry McLaurin is not producing like A.J. Brown. He's not producing like these top 5 guys. He goes away in games. He'll be like 40-yard game, 3 catches, 40-yard games. And I bring it up in group conversations. And like, oh, because he doesn't have the offensive line, because he doesn't have the quarterback. If you're that dominant, then they should be manufacturing the ball for you. Screens, slants, he should be the focal point. I love the guy, but it's like, dude, like it's like he needs he's not on that elite level this year. At least I'll put that out there to be kind to him. He just step it up a little bit. I love the guy, but like
he had a couple of drops. But the thing about wide receiver is it is one of the more reliant positions on the field.
True. I'll
you
say
need
that.
the quarterback to get it to you, and you need protection for him to be able to do
it. The other thing on that, John, and I've brought it up for quite a few weeks now, is you need the scheme to obviously work to that wide receiver as well. I mean, I've said this on many occasions. How many teams out there do you see with their number one wide receiver does not get 10 targets a game?
That's what I'm saying.
If you don't get 1.2 seconds to throw the ball.
That's true.
No, I understand that, John. But
last week
you
we
look at
saw how
every
they were
other
able to
team
manufacture that.
Well,
Scott, I agree with you. Like, sorry, go ahead. I'm sorry, I'm talking too much.
No. When you have a good game plan, when you game plan to protect Sam Howell and get the ball out of his hands, then that's when you see this offense actually work. And we've seen times there's been both Philly games, and then the second half of the Denver game where he was doing that. But other than that, I'm sorry. EB's been disappointing, and I don't think EB has protected Sam Howell the way he should have. That Giants game, that game plan should have been what we saw last week. It wasn't there. It just wasn't there. No. So listen, we know Sam's
reminded about that Giants game.
How many catches did Terry end up with last week? George, do you know the?
I think it's 6 or something, right? I don't know. I can look it up for you right now. I think it's 6 off my head. I could be wrong.
6 for just over 70, I think.
Yeah, and then you have your number 2 receiver.
Dotson was a beast last game. Fantastic.
You got to get your playmakers involved, and that's how you do it. If you do that, going in, we don't have the strongest offensive line in the world. Okay, we all the fan base knows it. But there's ways to game plan around that. Okay.
One thing I'll say, and I'm sorry, I know Keith wants to speak. I'm sorry, I'm interrupting you, Keith. But one thing I want to say is I was listening to Logan Paulson the other day, so whatever it was. But basically, he was talking about the reason why Sam Howell was dominant against the Eagles and not against the Giants is because they play completely different defenses, right? The Eagles kind of play a similar defense to what we do, where they kind of rely on their defensive line, generate pressure, kind of have more like simple concepts like man or cover 2 or whatever it is. They kind of play. It's not as complex to read. But he said the Giants have like blitzing from different angles and like stunts and things of that nature. You really have to be like knowledgeable of the game and think in real time to react to it, right? And basically, Logan Paulson was like, "Be careful, even though the Patriots aren't necessarily a very strong team. Bill Belichick is very creative with defenses, and he can see it being like a log jam, kind of a sloppy game. He knows like inside rookies' heads, and it's going to be kind of an ugly. He's going to disguise blitzes, in a disguise like who's stunning where. It's just going to be weird for Howell, and he's like." The offensive line has to be on point because it's not going to be like the Eagles where it's like they know where they're coming. There's kind of like, it's not going to be as simplified as that. Right. You can try to beat you by skill while other than beat you by scheme.
Let me pull in the free-for-all here real quick and do some true-false. We're going to go right to Keith. We're going to do some true and false. All right, George, what we do is I'll throw out a situation or a statement, and you can tell me true or false. Each one of us does one, and you can expound on whatever it is you get. So, Keith, you're first. Montez Sweat will be a Chicago Bear next year. True or false?
False.
You've been waiting 20 minutes to raise this ball.
That's not what I was waiting.
All right, well, go ahead.
I was trying to point. I was trying to point to my man down there.
It's good. Keep it moving. False.
False. All right, Scott. True or false? Chase Young has 5 sacks so far this year. He will end the year with more than 11.
False.
Boy, this segment is really fucking flying. I gotta tell you.
I'm gonna say true. I'm gonna go true. I think Chase is going to end the year strong. I just listen. You got Bosa on the other side. That defense is going to be pretty.
Wait, we're saying Slaughter or Chase.
This one's about Chase.
This one's about Chase.
Chase has 5 sacks. He'll finish the year with more than 11. 11 plus.
Oh,
I'm gonna say 11. Right at 11. What do you think, Keith?
Yeah, I still stick with false.
I think broccoli's all right.
It's hard for me. There's going to be an acclimation period as he goes over to that team. So he might not play a lot at first. There might be a lot of rotations, but I can see him dominating at the same time. We'll see how it goes. the safe bet is under. I think, yeah.
Okay. All right. So, okay, George. People Magazine will name Eric Bieniemy the sexiest man in 2024.
Are you sure it's not Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift? I feel like they need to probably win right now.
I think they're going off of this. Did you happen to see that?
Jesus Christ, John.
I mean, that picture's kind of sexy. I'm not gonna lie, but I don't think he's gonna get it now.
All right, so George, KJ Henry and Andre Jones will make significant contributions down the stretch.
No, it's false. I think they're going to play. They're going to probably play like 15 snaps a game. Yeah, but I don't think they're going to be significant contributors. I think KJ Henry was kind of like he was borderline not going to make the team during going into training camp. So it wasn't really super high. Even though I like him, I heard really good things about him. You know, I heard he's a great character guy. Just talking to Chris and Keith offline, and I also heard like he's a high character guy. Well, at his old school. But I think Andre Jones is more of the upside pass rusher. But I think it's going to be of the guys. I think it's probably going to be Casey Tuhill. It's going to be the one. There's a Tuhill like hive brewing. I'm not ready to go that route with it, but I think he's going to play pretty well. And F.A. Obata, man, whenever you get some playing time, you can get some sacks up there too. I'm excited about him.
He's so long, man.
With KJ Henry, I think if we played in like a 3-4, I think that would suit him a little bit better, possibly. There's smaller DNs coming off the edge, but no, I don't expect him to have anything major. I mean, you might see a sack or two from one of them, but this is going to be the Tuhill and Smith Williams show with Obata really cleaning up, getting the majority of the playing. I mean, we're going to see some playing time from him, but I expect it. If we're in games, I don't expect to see much for them.
All right, Keith, going off of that, Casey Tuhill or one or the other, James Smith Williams will be re-signed next year and be a starter.
Good question.
That's a tough one.
It's the starter one is
if it's going to be an either or, I'm going to say true.
I almost wrecked my truck
when
I thought about that part. I was like,
oh yeah. What are you saying?
So, go ahead. Give us what you think.
I was trying.
Okay.
I think if you're going to sign anyone, it's going to be Tuhill.
Okay. You think he'll be a starter next year? You think he'll do enough this year to say that we would be comfortable with that?
I can't answer that because it's going to depend. Obviously, free agency and draft is going to depend on that. I don't think they're going to sign him as an actual starter, but they're going to sign him for a depth position. And then if pieces don't fall in the place that they'd like, then he would become a starter unless he absolutely is trash for the remaining games. And I don't think he'll be trash. I actually think Casey Tuhill, which I did not realize,
he's solid.
He's solid. He's not going to be a sack master, but I think that he does a good job at covering his gaps.
Yeah,
he does that.
I'm going to say true, and reason being is, listen, you got two holes there, and nobody on contract, and nobody to that's you just
sound like a porno director.
You're gonna have Tuhill's going to have to fill in that role next year. I don't think we're going to have enough, especially we got to deal with linebacker. We're going to need at the very least two starters, and then offensive line. That's if roll with Sam Hill or Sam Howell next year. So I'm going to say true. Tuhill's going to be one of our defensive end starters, and he'll be solid, but we're going to need to spend big on free agency because I don't see us going high in the draft. Because we're going to need both left and right tackle next year. Both left and right tackle. Early in the draft, left and right tackle.
I do. I think it's just going to be interesting when we're rolling with Jimmy Garoppolo and Bill Belichick next year. It's going to be awesome.
We had a war with you people. Oh, good Lord. All right. One more we got here. Keith, take your shirt off real quick. I know you love to do it. You love for people to ask you to do it. So go ahead. Take your shirt off for us.
I'm only doing it because I know this is some dumbass bit you're about to do.
It's not a dumbass bit. It's an actual legitimate question. All right, Jesse, true or false? Keith's nipples look like artificial bacon.
Like bacon bits?
No, well, bacon bits. I don't know. Let's see how cold it is.
Pepperoni slices.
All right.
Jesus.
All right, that's enough of that. Let's look at the Patriots.
Like turkey bacon.
Yeah, that Bill Belichick rumor
Jesus.
this week is like, that's just the kind of thing that we do. Oh, he's gonna lactate. Oh my God.
Pulsating. Perfect.
There you go. That's what broccoli will do for you, ladies and gentlemen. That right there. All right, so this Bill Belichick rumor that fucking PFF or PFT started this week is ridiculous. And oh my God, I just put up a tweet that said that I don't want him. I want somebody younger than me by at least 20 years, and I'm 60.
That's hilarious.
You would not believe how many people have yelled at me and told me that Bill Belichick sucks and you don't know what you're talking about. I had some guy, and if you're paying attention, Lord of Flatulence, I don't know whether that's your real name or not. I would think maybe your mother might have named you that, given the takes you kept giving me. How many Super Bowls has he won without Brady? Well, the same amount that Chuck Noll won without Terry Bradshaw. The same amount that Vince Lombardi, who the trophy is named after, won without Bart Starr. That's the stupidest argument I've ever fucking heard, and I'm tired of hearing it. So fuck off, Fartmaster. And I don't want Bill Belichick. I think that's absolutely ridiculous. But I think, George, you hit it on the head earlier. He does know defense better than most people on the planet, and he knows how to make a young quarterback feel terrible. What are you pointing at?
That comment.
Andy borrows this comment.
That's the Commander's camaraderie right there,
It just reminds me of
true
a
friends,
greatest
Good
weekend ever.
stuff. Yeah.
For the people listening on the podcast later, look, last time I seen that, I got my balls out. Next time I come out, I got my balls out. Playing with the old Willie.
What's up, Andy? Good to see you, bro. Good to hear from you, actually.
Good to see you, George. How you doing? This stuck with me for over a year, but I saw that one day and I was like, that ain't Andy Burke.
I get the vibe from it. That's something Andy vibe for whatever the hell is going on. I get it. I get what you're trying to do there. It's perfect.
You need to do a side by side next time. Add his actual picture.
No, he looks like a Guy Fawkes.
Clothes,
That's what he looks like. He looks like Guy Fawkes. All right, so
look, I want to touch on Bill Belichick just for a second. And
that's
listen,
gross, dude.
I think it proves the point that Bill Belichick is rated as the all-time best coach in the history of the NFL. I mean, does anybody disagree with me on that?
He's got the rings. He's got the proof.
You look at what he's done with Brady and without Brady. And it just proves to show that you have to have a quarterback to win in this league, no matter
That's
what.
why I think that the best head coach of all time might actually be Joe Gibbs. Not just only 3 quarterbacks. Let me lay it out for you, and I'll tell you why.
Yeah, there's an argument.
In the course of 9 seasons,
argument for that.
9 seasons, 6 NFC Championship appearances, 4 victories, 3 Super Bowl wins. In 9 seasons with 3 different quarterbacks, there ain't nobody done anything like that, and I don't think anybody's ever gonna do anything like that. So. Hail to Joe Gibbs. All right, so has anybody been able to see? I saw a milk carton the other day that had a picture of practically every receiver that the fucking Patriots have on it, and nobody seems to know where any of them are. Kendrick Bourne is gone. Who is this? Who is Mac Jones, the dirtiest bastard in the league, gonna throw the ball to? George, who's he throwing it to?
That's an interesting question. Probably Hunter Henry, to be honest with you, but he doesn't have anybody. Basically, his wide receiver core is, exploded, right? Kendrick Bourne was their number 1. He got injured. I think he had towards ACL. They have Devontae Parker, I believe. He's more like a
concussion.
He's more like he got concussion, more of like a reception guy. So I know he was officially out. Juju Smith-Schuster, I think he came back there. Is he still there on the team? I think he's
Smith-Schuster is there. Yeah,
Smith-Schuster's still there. And then they have the one guy that might get us, which is kind of stupid, is like Tyler Thornton, I believe, is out. I know his last name is Thornton, but he's like an explosive 4-2 wide receiver. And it's like, he's the type of guy that, we always kind of underrate. We're going to smash him on defense. There's always one guy that has 3 catches for 150 yards. I can kind of see that guy being the explosive. We let him get behind us because we just have a miscue on defense.
Or Jack says to the skinny kid, hey, go out there and cover him one-on-one there, young fella.
Exactly.
Let me ask you this, George. Do we see Emmanuel Forbes on the field for more than 10 plays on Sunday? I think this is a good game for it.
I think it's a good game to go for it, right? So I think for more than 10 plays, I think yes. I think you have to start getting him back in there. I like the fact that they are kind of weaning him back in. I think he had 5 or 6 snaps last game, and it was it. And I like what they did. I think people were like, "Why are they putting
spots?" Yeah, but
it's awful that our first round pick, we're applauding the fact that we've had 6 plays in the game. But I like the fact that He went against AJ Brown. It was a nice. AJ Brown got him, but the thing was like it was in the red zone. It was confined space. The reason why they put Emmanuel Forbes on AJ Brown in the first place was because of his length. He's a tall, longer cornerback. He could actually swat the ball down. That was the rationale behind it, but they just forgot that AJ Brown's one of the most physical wide receivers in the entire league, and Emmanuel Forbes is one of the least physical wide receivers. Quarterbacks in the entire league. It wasn't a good matchup right there. So
I forgot that this guy was an MVP candidate. God dang.
So what I liked about it was they put Forbes on AJ Brown within the red zone, so there wasn't a lot of like wiggle room or explosives to kind of run around. It was more like a jump ball situation, but AJ Brown still got him. Forbes was there.
Still got him.
But, yeah,
but I will put, Forbes was there.
He was there.
He was there. He just, AJ Brown does what AJ Brown does.
AJ Brown does what he does, and I think sorry to interrupt you. I think Rivera was I think there were some complaints of Rivera that Brown pushed off when that play as well.
Tyquan Thornton was the guy you were after there.
Gotcha.
Andy and the other one is they've got who else is it? Jalen Rager is the other one.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Put that back up. Put that back up real quick. Andy Burrows just put up in the chat that we can't hide Forbes forever. Look, let me give you a little clue there. Umbrella stand. Put that motherfucker in an umbrella stand, and nobody will ever see him.
Because he's skinny.
He's skinny.
Okay. I was trying to figure that out. I was like, okay, gotcha.
I saw George's reaction, so
you could hide him behind a broom.
I was like, yeah, okay, I got you. Yeah.
If you turned him sideways and he stuck his tongue out, it looked like a zip. But anyway,
right.
Quan Martin might get some extended playing time in the back end because of Percy Butler. Have we heard anything? I know he hasn't been ruled out, but he is questionable. What's going on with? Have you heard anything about Percy, George?
You guys might know more than me. I missed that part. Actually, I was in New Orleans for a couple of days. I don't know the latest injury report, so you guys might know more than me about that one.
Hey, while you were down there in New Orleans, you actually, if you were in New Orleans on Bourbon Street, could you actually smell the Saints from there?
Yeah, I could. I saw the Superdome though. It was actually beautiful. It's a really cool town. Have you guys been there before?
Oh yeah,
I've been there twice.
It's really cool. Yeah, that's all. I want to go in there. Looks like a really cool venue. Actually, it's awesome.
What were you saying, Scotty?
So we've activated. We've signed.
Sorry.
Signed corner. You're going quick, Keith. You go. Keith, you go.
No. I was just saying it was an amazing venue. Nice dome. Very loud in there. Everything was nice. It didn't stink inside. There were no toilets, blowing apart. And
so it wasn't FedEx.
It was not FedEx.
There's a famous picture of Keith,
and it's a much older building.
Was the Mercedes Dome at one point?
Yeah.
Was that when
now it's Caesar Superdome now? That's what they call it now.
Yeah, there's a famous picture of Keith wearing a little Scully, that burgundy and gold Scully.
I think I know the picture
around. All right, Scott, what were you going to say, Bob?
Yeah, I was just saying there we've signed Castro Fields to the active roster, and we've also signed Jabril Cox as well to the active roster for the 53. And then on injury report wise, it is game status is Ricky Stromberg and Curtis Samuel are out, and Percy Butler is questionable.
So that means we're going to. Oh, go ahead, Keith. Go.
No, I was going to say. So we're going to lose this game to the Patriots.
That's the way it goes.
And the simple of the matter of fact is one, our defense is even now more worse than it was. That's for starters. And then also on top of that, Belichick is absolutely going to outcoach Ron Rivera, and that's the reason why we're going to lose.
Well, I think it will be outcoaching Eric Bieniemy because it's about Belichick's defense against our offense right here. Because I'll be honest with you,
never underestimate how badly Jack Del Rio can fuck up a game.
The Patriots' offense isn't good. They're not. They're really not that good.
The Giants are not good.
That's true.
The Bears were not good. These guys came in here and fucking mopped the floor with us.
So I think this
Bears game was probably one of the worst games I've ever seen. I was there. I was pumped, and my wife's from Chicago, and I was sitting there, and I was like, "Oh my god!" I couldn't believe it. That was one of that killed the season for me. That was a punch.
I expect a very low scoring game. I'm talking like a 13-10 type of game.
Yeah.
That Bears game deflated me.
Yeah.
Then the Giants game deflated me even more. Pissed me
broke
off.
you, Keith.
And then these trades that just happened, not that I feel like that these guys were absolutely amazing, but these trades solidified that even though we're in a weak conference, in a sense, and there's still slight possibility with what's going on with other teams, that we could make a run potentially. Okay, mathematically, it's still
100%,
there.
100%.
But
but
they solidified that we got nothing left this season. So now what you did is you just stole 4 home games from me, right? Because these are 4 home games that I absolutely 100% have no desire to go to.
You should blame Jason for that shit. He's the one that made you his friend and said you should come to these games. Got you to spend all that money, and they're just shit. Scott, did I hear this right? They did not activate KJ Henry or Andre Jones.
I haven't seen that. I mean, it's
Who
just
is going
said
to
there
back
that
up Tuhill and Swift Williams. Who the hell? What the hell are they doing?
That
they're
doesn't
they're
come out
not on the
till
practice
Sunday.
squad. Yeah.
They're on the team.
Not on the practice squad.
They're on the
They
team.
cut
No,
them?
they're on the
Well,
team.
Keith, I'm with you, bro. I'm with you. It's
you want
tough.
to slap me right in the face? Send me to the 49ers game where Chase Young's over there eating.
And I'm not gonna
and
lie.
I get to watch that. No, thank you.
The other thing as well that's terrible.
Guys, sorry.
No, I was going to say the other thing that's terrible is it not season ticket renewal week as well?
Oh,
they're asking people to do that now.
Making that
First of all,
seriously,
because I'm so pissed off with this team, let me go ahead and blow that shit up too. That shit don't mean nothing. They're just trying to get you your money early, okay?
Right.
But guess what? I waited until last March to make my decision and still got my seat. So
yeah, last year I jumped on the early renewal, and it really wasn't really a benefit of it. And actually, it's kind of funny. Like people, I got some pretty nice seats. I'm 100 level, row 10, row 7 or 8, pretty nice seats.
You're right over there, Bobby.
And there are people that are up there, whatever. Long story short, because I didn't pay in full, I didn't get a hat, and I didn't get all these extra benefits that other people got. I'm paying 4 times as much as everyone else. What is going on? It doesn't make any sense. But yeah. And that was
I'm done being nice. I'm done making excuses. Okay,
I don't know if I'll get mine again.
When I was a whack ass fan ambassador, I'm not that anymore. So I'm not making excuses for the bullshit that they pull and this nonsense of telling me in the middle of the season that it's ticket renewal. You can go fuck yourself. You're not getting my money, especially after everything that you just did. You're gonna get my money when I'm fucking ready to give it to you, and that ain't gonna be until March. And guess what? My seat ain't going nowhere, and I'll give you my money when I want to. And then mid-season, I'll be pissed off again.
Yep,
saying the same thing.
Yep,
fuck them.
Yeah.
All right, so let's get some score predictions here.
Yeah.
Might as well. Jesse, go ahead. What do you see coming up this week?
You're on mute, mate.
No, he's not. He just hasn't said anything yet. He's still thinking.
I like I said earlier, I see a low-scoring game. I think Belichick's going to tee off on Sam Howell, but I think Sam's going to have a better game against the Patriots than he did against the Giants, slightly better. So I'm going to say 16-13. We squeak out a win.
Bill Belichick will put in Bailey Zappi if there's a
because we haven't won in New England since 1996. Just put it to you that way. So I'm going off the do theory.
How many times have we played up there since then? See, I tell you what, the way I look at it is this: before Bill Belichick retires, I want to rub that motherfucker's face in it because I can remember a game where they were up 45-7 against Joe Gibbs's fucking Redskins and just said "fuck it" with 30 seconds to go, stop us, and scored from the 2. And it's like, you dick. You got to stop us.
Andy Burroughs, you renewed because you're a fucking homer. That's why.
He's a homer from London.
Yeah, I can say I'll transfer you the money later, mate. But it's going to be interesting.
I think he uses that up there in London.
Scott, you're not a homer. I'm pretty sure Andy just strong-armed you into doing it because you're a smart guy. But
what
he uses that to pick up women in London. He's like, "Hey, I got season tickets to the Commanders." Jet setter.
Yeah, and they slap him and call him a loser.
All right, Keith, what's your score position?
Wow.
Yeah, it's going to be 20. Yeah, it's going to be I have no idea. It's going to be 20. I think it's going to be a close game. It's going to be 21-20. Ron Rivera is going to stand there with his arms crossed per usual with no expression. He's not going to throw a flag because something crucial happened and we'll lose the game.
The script. Stick to the script.
All right.
Yep.
Scotty, what about you?
Yeah, you're right, George.
EB's going to throw the ball 50 times.
50 times.
That's irritating. God, that's irritating.
Yeah, it is.
I mean, you can't run effectively. Guess what? Go ahead, Scott.
I think we're going to see a little bit more balance this week. I think we're going to see similar game plan to what we had against Philly, but I think it might be a little bit more balanced. We might see a little bit more higher dose of B-Rob, and I'm going for a 24-21 win. I think we win by winning from takeaways because I think Mac Jones is absolutely dog shit. I think he's terrible. I think he's one of the worst quarterbacks in the league, and he's just not good at all. So if we can't beat him, it's going to be a problem. This team is 2-6. Come on now.
Over under.
Start beating them.
Over under 2 or 1.5 times Mac Jones kicks someone in the nuts. George, I'll start with you.
Yeah, he's a dirty son of a bitch. George, what's your score prediction? What do you got?
So I'm just going to stick with it. So, I think it's going to be a low-scoring game, but I told Doug 20-17, the Washington's going to win. I think we're going to pull it out. It might be even more low scoring than that. I think it's going to be ugly. I think I kind of had an idea of what I thought about the game. I started hearing more about it. I think it's going to be kind of I hope we play better, but I think it's going to be like the Giants game, man. I think it's going to be an ugly, sloppy, where they're going to sack us. It's going to be frustrating. Hopefully we get a touchdown in the end. I think it's going to be like that. I mean, I'm saying 2017, but I wouldn't be surprised if it's 17-14, 16-13, something like that. What I'm saying.
That's what I was.
Y'all are all a bunch of pessimistic pussies. I'm going to go ahead and say we are going to whip this team. We're winning 27-13 this weekend because we're going to get that offensive put back together based on what we did on Sunday against the Eagles. Yeah, great. I know Bill Belichick, he's a wizard when it comes to disguising coverages, to come in with blitzes that are exotic from all over the damn place. He makes young quarterbacks look terrible, but Matt Patricia's a fucking idiot, and I think even Jack Del Rio can kick him in the ass. They can't move the ball. They don't have anybody to throw it to, and except for this 4-2 guy that you got named Thornton. And I made a fucking pact with myself years ago. We do not get burned by anybody named Thornton.
Got two good tight ends though. Gesicki's not a bad tight end. Hunter Henry's okay as well.
That's the thing. I hope that we get at least the linebacker play that we saw last week. I was actually impressed with David Mayo last week, and I couldn't believe it. The dude was in on plays, man. He was not making himself a liability. I think Hunter Henry he's a pro, and Gesicki is another wide receiver, basically.
I think go ahead, Keith.
No, I was going to say, shout out to Taylor Heineke for getting his first start.
Yeah. Hey, I'm actually interested in seeing that game. I actually, I'm going to see that Falcons offense because I do like. I think they got some good skill players on that team. I think we can win this game, but a key to winning this game is having more than 15 run plays. That's you
got to back the defense off.
The fault with Bieniemy is he's pass happy, and he made a joke. He made a joke the other day in his press conference that he got it from Andy Reid. But the fact of the matter is, listen, now that Chris Paul's in the lineup, you got some strength, and you can move he can move players. He can move the defensive line, and I like Larson. He's played well last week. Under center. I mean, they did really good stuff against that vaunted Eagles defensive line last week. Listen, get Rodriguez, get Brian Robinson in there. Let's keep doing the short game. We had one fucking screenplay called against the Giants. How many? We had 6 against the Eagles. Yeah, you got to work off that. You got to work off that, man. And I mean, we had almost 6 yards per carry against the Eagles.
Like I said to you guys last week, within our first 2 drives, every single skill player that we have, except for John Bates, had an opportunity to get the ball. We all love what we saw out of Chris Paul, but the end around to Diami Brown, he totally loafed it and missed his block. Other than that, it was going.
Paul didn't have a very good game. He was the lowest rated. He
was okay.
He's good he's good in the run game.
You can't deny the fact that we had a pocket, and I think that has a lot to do with Tyler Larson and his ability to call the defense out and
straight into the block as well.
He's able to do that stuff. And the other thing I really was impressed with is Sam Howell's development. When early in the season, no motion, nobody going motion. Oh, they'd send Brian Robinson out there, and then they'd bring him right back. But that was about it. Now, guys are crisscrossing all over the place. The play itself has mesh points all over the damn place. And Bieniemy is trusting Hal to do that. And Hal, to his credit, last week, I mean, that nice slant that he hit Logan Thomas with for maybe like a 15, 16-yard game was on a blitz, and he spotted. He was like, alert, 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 and they freaking hit it. And it's like, oh, my God, we hit a hot read. Woo, look at that.
Also, too, is not, calling a lot less 5- and 7-step drops. You got 3-step drops out there. That's what you have to do when you don't have a strong offensive line. And earlier in the season, I mean, it seemed like everything was a 5- or 7-step drop. Like you can't, they can't. They saw this in training camp, man. They saw our defensive line eat this offensive line up. Why would you think it would be any different coming into the season?
But I hope the boy does well again.
George.
All right, so let's wrap it up.
What's George's? What is George's keys to a victory?
Yeah, give us your keys.
Oh, geez.
And your car. Give me your wallet and your watch.
So it's got to be. So they're going to try to run the ball. I think that's what the Patriots do. Ramondre Zeke Elliott. That's who they have over there. We guys got to shut down the run. We got to make Mac Jones. He can't scramble, so we basically have to just generate pressure on him. Is what we have to do. I think the defensive ends and the defensive tackles have something to prove. They basically there's going to be spotlight on them, so they got to shine over there. I do like what you guys were saying. So I think pressuring Mac Jones. I think having that balance on offense. I do want to see Brian Robinson get the ball a lot. I do want to see that run game over there. And what else? What was my third one? I'm trying to think off the top of my head. Let's try to get our playmakers involved, man. Let's get Dotson and
Terry.
Yeah, Terry and Dotson involved. I want to see our playmakers. Why don't we blow this game open? The Patriots aren't a great team. We can beat them. So let's do it. I love to see it.
Let's put that offense on.
We know we know Samuel isn't playing, so I've loved what I've seen from Crowder this so far. The little
Crowder's turning out to be one of Ron's best signings, isn't he?
That's it.
The little amount that he's played, he showed up, and I'm proud of him. It's good to see. Go ahead, Scott.
I love Crowder.
Give us a key, Scott.
Key to victory for this is, as you guys have just said, it's making sure the offensive line holds up again. It's making sure that we give Sam the time to throw the ball, because we have to accept now we are a pass-first team. Irrespective of what you think, that is EB's philosophy. We're a pass-first team. And it's only going to get worse if you're behind. You're going to ask him to throw 30, 40, 50 passes. I mean, I'll put this one out there. Any other quarterback in this league, I really like Sam Howell. I think he's the guy. But any other quarterback in this league, you ask them to throw the ball 50 times, you're going to get more than one mistake, irrespective of who they are. Yeah. I mean, we made one mistake last week. But what he has to do is just try not to make that mistake at a time where it's critical or a time where we need, we can't run it back to cost us 7 points, unfortunately.
That was the young guy mistake right there. And I'm okay. If we see that during the season, I get it. That's just growing pains for him. Listen, 1 sack, 1 interception. Yeah. I'll deal with that every game of the season.
Especially if it's sacks at the end of the game, unless we're losing like that.
Keith, what's your key?
4,500 yards. Ridiculous.
I don't have any keys. The way I see it is this is just one game closer to ending this miserable last season.
Wow.
Eats up on the ledge. All right.
You know that Sam Howell is 6th in the league in passing?
Yeah, well, when you throw 50 times, you're going to rack up some yards.
So this game, I do believe, is actually a winnable game for us. Yeah. I mean, you guys pretty much said all the keys. There's nothing else more that I can make up. I agree with pretty much everything that all of you guys said. I do think it's a winnable game. But my mindset at this point, I'm checked out. I really am. And I haven't decided, if I'm even going to the Giants game. If I do, it's because we're going to treat it as the salute to service game. We're going to wear the camo. I'm going to go in honor of my dad. Chances are I might even put a brown paper bag
on your head.
Yep, with some hog farmer ears on top of it, because it is what it is.
I want to talk to you offline, Pete. I want to hear what you have to say about a couple of things, but I don't know. I think we're wrapping up right now, but it's all good.
Oh, dude!
No, you can mention it now. Go ahead.
Talk about whatever you want.
Oh no, I was just kind of curious. Like, I guess what everyone's thoughts was. Like, for me, it was difficult. Like, I think the Bears game punched me in the mouth. Like I actually was
Yeah.
angry and pissed off at the game.
Me too.
And it was like the first, like I never try to take it out on anybody, but like, I was there with my wife. My wife is awesome. She goes to all the games. It was raining, cold, miserable outside. She comes with me. She's from Chicago, but she was wearing Commanders gear for me.
Wow.
And we just got her ass kicked. And it was like the first 5 plays, just touchdown. And I was just pissed. I was like, I left I went to go get food for like a quarter. I was just walking around pissed. I was like, what? This is embarrassing. Like, why am I here? Why did I pay a couple $100 to watch this game? That's how I felt at the game. And it was hard for me to bounce back and feel happy after watching that. Fast forward 2 weeks later, my we're all busy. We're all adults. I haven't seen my brothers in a couple of weeks. I haven't seen my mom in a couple of weeks. And they know I love I'm going every other week to a Commanders game. So like the Giants were an away game. Hey, George, you're finally around this weekend. Let's get together. We'll watch the Commanders game with you for fun because we know how much you love it, right? We sit around and we watch that Giants game, and it's freaking like miserable, and people are pissed, and no one's happy, and they're doing it for me. People are sitting around watching this game for me because my brothers they taught me to love the Redskins growing up. But they don't even watch the games anymore. They're like, dude, this is the game suck. Why would I waste my Sunday? And they're doing it for me. And again, and people are walking around miserable because of that. I was like, I ruined y'all day by watching this game, and that just kind of like rubbed the bad taste in my mouth. And it was like, it's tough. It's like I put so much time and energy and love and hours of doing stuff like this in this game, but I'm not getting anything in return. And then I see Chase Young leaving and Sweat leaving. I'm low right now.
It hurts. It hurts.
And I want to see us bounce back. Like that's where I'm at. And it's like renewing the season tickets right now. Like I don't know about all that, man. Like, I'm gonna see what happens, and maybe I'll feel better at the end of the year. But it's like it's tough, man. That's how I feel. And
it's not. The schedule going forward is hard.
Yeah. Here's the thing.
It's tough.
Here's the thing. Don't fucking come to me talking about in November before December. Okay. Don't come to me.
Yes, it is
talking about ticket renewal season. What the fuck have you done for me? What have you done for this fan base?
They don't owe you anything.
Except for lose. They don't owe me shit.
That's right.
Okay? But I don't owe them a fucking payment. And you know what? Look, if you want to take my seat, take my seat. Perfectly fine with me. Because what you're going to do is you're going to save me money. Because if you take my seat after this piss-ass performance this season that you've shown me, right, I'm done with it. Like, I don't need to go. I drop $125 every time I go to games. They didn't tell me to do that. That's not tickets. That's not tickets. And the team didn't tell me to do that. But what I can do is draw the line. And you've got the nerve, the absolute nerve to send out an email and tell us it's ticket renewal season. Put your down payment now to save your seat. You know what? If my seat goes, I don't care. Because I'm saving myself money. I'm saving myself time. And George, exactly what you said. You spent time with your family for this. I went to that game, right? I didn't pay for my tickets, but I damn sure had to pay $140 to put my car in a spot, okay? To just put my car in a spot. Pay $140.
That's all parking for the Giants game is $140.
Yeah, it was
$140 is what it cost me. For what? To show me that shit, and I'm raising my kid into this.
Not only that,
for me,
they ask us to come. They're like, "We need you,"
right?
And then they give you that.
I'm raising my kid in this. Now he's 7 years old. He's not into it the way that we are yet. He hasn't grown his passion. I want to grow his passion moving forward. But I'm telling you right now, oh no, I'll be back next season. And I guarantee you they're not going to give away my seat. But if they did,
well, that's what you're saying. He's a lot, right? That's where you sit, is behind.
Because I'm just enough, man. Like the first 2 years, George, it was super cool, man. Because like we were meeting the podcast. I don't care about that. I was not. That didn't even really exist. I'm just talking about I paid not just for games, I paid for the rest of the experiences. Yeah. Jesse and I go into training camp. Meeting George and getting all together with all the podcasters.
100%.
Meeting the UK guys last year. No offense, I love you all, right? I've done it. I've met you. Okay, now we've all became friends out of this. Okay, cool. I love that. Now I want to get to business. I want wins, and I'm tired of the same bullshit every season. This is a rant because I'm telling you, just like you said, George.
Keith's corners back.
After that Bears game, right? And I know we gotta get going. After that Bears game, I felt the same way as you did, depleted, bro. For our team to pull that nonsense on national TV, right, is embarrassing. And here I am supporting that embarrassment. There is no excuse. So what? You expect me from week in to week out? No, they don't expect nothing. But what am I supposed to do as a fan? Walk around week in and week out and fake smile over this stuff? No, I'm not fake smiling over anything anymore because I'm done with that. I pay to go watch games, and doesn't mean we're going to win every single time. But after 5 years, and I've been going for 3, I expect better. And what we got
100%.
was worse.
Yeah. Well, one bit of advice for you all, though, is save your money because there's going to be a game in London next year.
Yeah, well, we're all coming out for that.
Come out and see us all. I'm not in London. I'm 4 hours away, but it's not the point. Andy will cover you. We'll get accommodation sorted. There's lots of places
George,
to go.
These guys will tell you. I've been a Rivera and somewhat a Jack Del Rio apologist for a long time, but
we all were
that Chicago Bears game. It's really kind of turned that tide for me. And then like you said, I think this how
I think it for everybody.
I've wanted Jack Del Rio gone since I met you guys. I can't stand that guy. His defenses have no fucking imagination.
Gruden, wow.
That's pretty bad. But
I'd rather let Andy drop his balls on my forehead 6 more times and pay for that than to pay for this nonsense that I see every week. And you want me to go to a 49ers and Dolphins game? No, thank you.
Jesse, I agree with I agree with you. I think that was, for me, I was like, Ron's a good guy. Maybe he'll stick around. I was like contemplating what all situations, but after that, I was like, it's done. Like, we just walked out, just got massacred on national television. Like, that ended the season for me. It was like, we're not going to bounce back after that. It was like we can't even talk. We can't talk to anybody. Like we got blasted by the winless Bears.
The two worst teams in the league. We got manhandled.
The 2 worst teams in the league we lost. It's ridiculous. It's awful.
Yep. We have a drug problem. Soon, actually, that's the bottom line. The team has a drug problem. It gets drug up one side of the field and drug right back down the other.
That's a great comment.
By the way, here we go. How much you getting paid for this? Oh, wild. All right. Okay, so 2 of us are predicting a victory.
That's part of my whole season.
3 of us are predicting abject defeat against Bill Belichick and his damn Patriots. Mac Jones is a dirty son of a bitch, and here's what I hope will happen to him this week. He's not looking when the ball is snapped, and it hits him square in the fucking balls, and he can't get laid for at least a year because it swells up to the size of a watermelon. His girlfriend thinks he's an abject freak and runs off with the first sailor she can find. That's what I'm hoping for you, Mr. Jones. We're winning on Sunday. Anybody got anything to close with?
No. George, where can we find you, bub?
Well, first of all, guys, I love coming on here. Definitely invite me back some other time. It's a blast talking to you guys. I love it.
You just like the dirty pictures.
Yeah. I actually thought that was Will Smith's missus.
Jada Pinkett. Now watch out. She'll come on here.
Jesus. Ooh, my Twitter handle is at gcarmi21. My content right now, I'm doing stuff with Doug every Monday and Tuesday. We basically have like a Monday recap with Doug. Big Douglas show. We kind of just recap the game. It's me, him, Adam Aniba. And then on Tuesday, man, I think it's great content. We have Nick Eckridge and Mark Bullock. They do the play-by-plays and kind of break down the thing. Fantastic. I love it. It's a lot of fun. So check it out.
Excellent. Yeah, everybody come check it out because I check it out. I like it a lot. All right, then. Well, let's see us after. We'll see you all. Actually, Scott and Jesse will see you all tomorrow at 2 o'clock in the afternoon where we will do badly picking NFL football games again, I'm quite sure. And then we'll be back Sunday right after the game. And George, you're welcome if you want, man. If you want me to drop you a link, I'll be glad to.
Let me know. We'll see if I'm around. We'll see what kind of mood I'm in at the same time. Too.
Yeah, it's always tough.
Here and for 20 minutes, and we're all whatever's condition you're in. Come on in. But we'll get together Sunday after the game, and then Monday evening at 5:30, we will break it all down and find out what happened and why the hell Jesse and Keith picked us to lose, and Scott and I are going to stand back.
I picked us to win. Thank you. It was them two down there.
Right
over there that picked
those
us.
two.
Yeah. I got us a win.
All right,
we winning.
I don't care if they. I don't even care if they tie. Go away.
Oh, cheers, fellas.
Tell you what, you talked about a tie. You got Scotty all excited. He was like, "Oh, a draw."
I was
a draw.
Is it a 1-1 draw? Hey,
0-0 sounds like a barn burner. All right, then we were out of here. We'll see y'all next time.
Peace.